Qatar,
Kenya to
Canada.
Qatar to Canada. Almasi and I used to live in Qatar, and then we knew eventually at some point we'll relocate to somewhere else, but we didn't really think Canada, but we knew that that's not where we really wanted to stay for the rest of our lives.
You're watching Vybes N Visas with me, Charlie Karomi. We are still with the one, the only Madam Stella.
Lakini nimewisiza ma weddings za home na maandrashio na
Mohi kitaya mama nileko.
Hapo umenipitisha, lakini kuna moja tu najua but sikumbuki name waje.
Wait, which one? Welcome. Everyone must know. You have to know welcome.
City Downy.
Let me ask you, when was the last time you were home, by the way?
2019.
2019.
March, karibu 4 years ago.
Yo, do you miss it?
Kabisa, I miss home. Kabisa, I miss the kids. Kila kitu.
Are you going home anytime soon?
Maybe. Stay tuned.
Nakutuma na list. I'm like, enda gara ukanichukulie hii. Enda Gekoba ukanichukulie hizi.
Do you know what though? Nilikuwa natembeaga. I remember I used to have one good friend of mine, and we went to school together. High school, Nini, she was my good friend. Ngara tumetembea.
Gara.
But now I don't know if saizi naeza enda na nikuogopa tu, lakini Ngara na Dubois. Unajua hiyo street?
Dubois.
Hapana.
What is that? No, please.
Dubois.
What is a Dubois?
Tusiagi kwa
it's
saizi.
Dubois. Okay, let's
Dubois,
not argue on camera. It's
uko.
Dubois. Okay, let's go back to Qatar.
Yeah, so life in Qatar happened like that. And then, like I said to you, we were in this complex. So I met a Canadian family. This Canadian family had 2 boys. Yeah, 2 boys, maybe 5 at that point. One day, this other mama said, you know what, they really want to go out. Why don't you try, ask them if, you can babysit for them and see, because they really want to go. The kids have become so hectic for them. They everywhere they go, they have to go with them. So I was like, yeah, I know these kids. I know the family. And I went and knocked on their door. And I was like, hi, it was almost dinner time. And I said, sorry to interrupt, but, I just wanted to let you know, like, if you guys ever want to go out for dinner or a movie.
Babysit and you.
I'm here. Let me know. Where? Kidogo hata nipewa watoto niwaambie uchukue.
We want to go now.
Yeah, they didn't expect that, unajua. And they were very skeptical when she told them about, we're doing this, we're bringing people in. Wow, they're that family who were like, bringing in a stranger. Yeah. Yes, we do want, lakini pia we're not sure.
Because it's our kids.
So they really didn't dive into the story like most of them did.
Yeah.
So they said, wakasema nisa. The next day, I remember I got a message and they're like, yeah, are you available this weekend? I was like, 100%.
Come on.
So I went there. I always found it was easier to go to their environment than to bring them over to where I was. Sabu, they have things to do. Maybe they have their games and they're comfortable and whatnot. So I went over there. They went for dinner. Kitu kama 4 hours, maybe not even. And then they came back. When they paid me, my
you
guy.
Like, this is... Kumbe kuna kazi.
Sasa hata nikaanza kuona, now all those people I was bringing, wamekuja kuniharibia job because
it's clean money.
It's clean and it's cash and it's tax free. Nini, where they were so grateful. Na mimi sasa I was on top because I'm like, Now, at that time, you know what? They left Kitu. They made sure they fed the kids. So they left Kitu almost, maybe at least an hour to their bedtime. And the kids were trained like that. If it's Nihisa, you go to bed and that's it. So mine really was to go and read them a book. A book to...
And they're pretty well behaved. You put them to bed and that's
you
good.
Read them a book, they sleep. You go downstairs, you watch TV, or you do whatever, they're in bed.
That's why I'm telling you, Stella, you're an entrepreneur. This is an opportunity you saw. Ongeza kwa CV.
Nakwambia, this year.
Because entrepreneurship is seeing an opportunity right? Where there is a problem. You see a problem, you see an opportunity. Come on.
So anyway, then we became friends with this family. And then the kids' grandparents, parents to the lady of the house were visiting from Canada.
From Canada.
Because this is a Canadian family. So they came, but every time I would go over and they would Skype. They'd say, oh, this is Stella. So I would say hi to them. Hi, Nini.
Celebrity.
Hey. And then it got to a point where Mbaka was like, oh, you know, I got into the house, alafu naona there's things everywhere. So me, I'm so comfortable being them. So you just find me taking and folding things and Nini. Then they even started paying for that.
Come on.
So anyway, so then the family...
And meanwhile, you're still doing your work from home.
Yeah, meanwhile, me, I'm still bringing people in.
Nice.
Kabisa.
Nice.
Because I was very flexible too. Yani, if I hadn't done that, hata sijui, because Qatar also, you can't really zurura or, you know, you can't really go places.
How so? Which is one of the reasons, because I feel like what you're about to tell me is one of the reasons maybe you chose to move to Canada from Qatar. But tell me, why can't you easily zurura?
You had to know people. Like it's not like Kenya where, you know, you can go to suggest somebody's house and kula, or you go to a club comfortably. There's so many things there that didn't really make it at the...
You don't feel like you can just let loose.
No, you can't. Yeah. And if you do, you're at the comfort of your house, really. It's you know, it's not like here in Canada where maybe I can come to your house and we can have drinks and eat, and you know, even church was just one day. It was Fridays, and that's it.
Krisha.
Yeah. So anyway, so these parents came from
the Shosho and Guka of the kids,
The Shosho and Guka came, and then Sasa we met. They're like, hey, let's have dinner. So I went there and had dinner, Nini, and we talked. You know, they asked me, Nini, how did you come here? I told them the whole story, Nini, and she was like, I remember she said, do you see yourself ever living here?
Like permanently?
Yeah, in Qatar at the time. And I said, you know, I don't really know. I don't know. I'm here now, and that's all. I'm here now, and that's just it.
Yeah.
And then she said, so what do you think you'd want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. But in future, I'd want to go back to school. And then she was asking me what I did in school. Shout out to Graffins College.
Graffins, Graffo. Packages.
Where? Usiongea mambo ya packages. A whole diploma / degree.
Oh, you did a whole diploma.
I did.
Let me tell you, if you come out kupitia Graffins, or this is only for the Kenyans. If you're foreigner, sorry, but this is a very Kenyan reference. If you didn't go to Graffins or IAT, what did you do after high school?
Wait, there's not even IAT, just to kidogo kulikuwa na, there's another place that was hapo Afya Center that was doing computer packages. My friend ilikuwa na certificate ya yellow. Ni vile huku ni prepare ningeitafuta.
What is the place in Afya Center?
Iko mahali Afya Center, alafu unapanda, you go through the stairs, ni mahali uko juu kuna giza, lakini hizo me, I got my packages there.
Come on, packages. What was Form 4? After Form 4, everyone packages.
Everyone went to packages.
Do they still do them, by the way?
Well, unlike Canada, when you're done with high school, the first thing you do is you go for driving. No, you get your DL because you move around. Huko, back home, you finish, you have to get those computer packages. Others I haven't even used to date, but I have the certificate.
PowerPoint, Excel.
No, those ones I used
Access,
at school.
Excel
I used kidogo, but there's I wish ungeniambia mapema nikutafutie hiyo certificate. Anyway, so this Canadian grandparents came. And then
you told them you'd like to go back to school.
I told them I'd like to go back to school at some point. It wasn't really something that was for tomorrow. Anyway, and then she said, leave it to me.
I got you.
Leave it to me. I'll figure something out. I'm like, figuring something out? It's me who wants to go to school. Like, what are you figuring out? Anyway, so she went back to Canada. We continued chatting. Life in Qatar kept on being the same. And then I remember she sent me an email and she's like, check this out. It was a certain school in Courtney here. Because this Gukas live here. Yeah. So I looked at it. I remember I was saying to Almasi, hey, I don't know, but this is an opportunity. And at that time also, my aunt and my uncle are in Toronto, so sini Canada, right? So ikaingia na hivyo madeni debt ya kukuja Canada. Because now you're coming. I came to Canada.
Tell me how much it cost. Let's talk about that. What did that cost?
Because
no, we have to. Stella, it's in the past. We have to talk about that.
Until today, we are still paying that debt.
Stop.
Yes. I lost friendships because people back home were like, oh, now you're in Canada, sijui nini. Friends,
send me something.
Send me. But at that time, you're like, dude, I can't.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck, my guy.
Paycheck to paycheck.
But tell me about the cost. Qatar to Canada. What did that involve?
Honestly, I think it cost about $40,000.
Canadian dollars?
Canadian dollars. Because...
It's about 4 mic.
Because I came as an international student. Mm-hmm. And then... knowing nobody, I don't have an agent like most people come from Kenya. Me, I'm coming from I'm coming from the Middle East, back home. So what happened was, after I decided I want to come to Canada, I had to go back to my country of origin. I had to go back to Kenya and stay there for a couple of months because that's where my visa would be coming from. Mm-hmm. And for you to do that, you had to have an X amount of money in your account
to show that you can survive,
to show that you can sustain yourself when you come, because they don't want you to come as a student and then you're a burden to the government. So you're asking for so I had to have a certain amount of money in my account. That was, I think, 2 million in my account. I went back home. I stayed a couple of months there. The reason why it cost this much is because I had an immigration lawyer that I was using from Surrey. Mm-hmm. And she's the one who was now in between, like, me.
Wait, for school? But I thought school is a bit easier. Do you still need an immigration lawyer for school?
Sasa, remember, I'm coming to Canada, and it's a link that I've been given by Akina Gooks.
Yeah.
Unaona?
Yeah.
And Akina Gooks really don't know much about how to bring someone here. So we had to use somebody who has the experience and the knowledge.
True.
So this is where this mama comes in from Surrey, who was an immigration lawyer. Mm-hmm. The prices that this woman charged until today, and she even messed me up, I'll tell you, until today, were outrageous. So I don't know why. I don't know if she was charging that because Akina Gooks have gone to her saying there's this chick who wants to come here, like, how can we help?
She assumes you have their old money.
And then she assumes that in their will,
Yeah.
So then there was that fee. And then now, as an international student in Canada, you pay over 3 times as much as a Canadian.
True.
I remember. And then I was in a private school. That school was a private. It wasn't a public. So I remember my friends were like showing me at the school, what do you call them? The receipts. They've paid kitu 12 grand, and for me it's like $30,000. And you're like, and we're in the same class, we're in the same course. What is this?
No, but that's the thing. In Canada, international students pay more.
Right? Now,
locals,
it's a private school. And so now there's that money that's in the account just for it to be there.
There's the school fees.
There's that school
fees.
Lawyer. There's the lawyer. There's flights.
And there's the visa as well.
There's the visa. Unaona? So, that's why I'm telling you, 5 years later, we are still in debt.
Come on.
Right? But it all paid off.
All paid off.
Wait,
let me ask you, still, if because you're on the lawyer still, if you were to do it again, would you use an immigration lawyer, or would you go through like
me myself now, I'm an immigration consultant. Actually, sasa mimi, again, CV.
Entrepreneur / immigration consultant.
But you know what?
Maybe I'll put Stella's handles in the description. Reach out.
Yeah, now I've done so many things by myself and they've all been successful. You just have to learn, yani you just have to be in the country kwanza, you're on the ground, alafu you learn things your way as you go. Right now I haven't used anybody in maybe 3-4 years and I've been kabisa successful.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got to Canada.
That was in 2017. Ukapanda dege
kabisa
from Kenya. You're like, goodbye Kenya, here we go Canada.
Here we go. I've left Almasi in 50 degrees plus ako huko Qatar.
Yo.
The kids are he's in the Middle East, the kids are in Africa, mimi huyo North America.
The Mukira family was spread across 3 continents.
So I got here, Feb, the snow, I was like, nini. We had winter in Qatar, lakini hakukukuwa na hizi ugali zinamnyesha huku.
Ugali Wait, but winter in Qatar is like what? 20 degrees.
But compared to hapa, I remember, I think I even have those pictures, because now this gooks came to the airport. So, you know, I'm going to their house. So for me, coming to Canada, I didn't have a problem of this other problems that people have now of finding a host. So do you have to go through school so that they can find you a family to live with? I didn't have that. I came straight to akina gooks.
Tunaita soft landing.
Kabisa, I came, nikafika. And now, I think the funny part was, sasa si niko Canada, my aunt is in Toronto. Shule doesn't start until maybe end of Feb, if not March, skumbuki. So I'm there, I'm like, napigia auntie simu, naambia niaje, you know what, I'm here. So should I cab over? Nichukue basi? Are you coming to pick Sini Canada? Nilistuka.
That's something. That's something people don't understand. How huge this.
But since in Canada, we're all in Canada, so there's I don't see why I can't take a bus
or an Uber.
Ama she can't come and pick me up.
Why don't you love me?
Why should I stay with Akina Gooks for the weekend and you can cook for me?
Don't you want to see me?
I haven't seen you because I hadn't seen them in years. I hadn't seen them in years, so I was like, Mimi, I'm here. So ni do like.
Actually, the flight took how long?
Where? No, because first of all, niliulizwa kama, do you know how to read the map? I'm like,
mbona unaniongelesha hivi?
We kuangalia, my emotions sasa. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Because that's almost the distance of like what? Nairobi to
Europe.
Lagos. It's like, yeah.
You know? Anyway, so I said to Akina Gooks, I was like, you know what? There's no way, I just have to go. I can't settle. Sabu, coming here, I knew I'm just going to. Actually, funny thing is, I knew maybe school would be closest to. So, guys, before mkuje huku, do your research.
Know where exactly
you're going. Because had I known that, I would have prepared myself. Alafu, I would have settled in Courtney. And then, later on, then I would have gone
maybe
to
even
visit.
Found a school in Toronto, maybe.
Or even, right? So. Anyway, so I remember I was just like, I can't. So I took a flight to Toronto. I went there. Where? The distance, first of all. Not to mention the weather. Because now, I'm coming from here where, yes, it's snowing. I'm going there to a place where I have to sleep with my hat on, with gloves. I'm shaking with sijui what.
Toronto is not for the faint of heart.
Not at all. Not at all. So anyway, I saw them. And then I was like, okay, now this is not my town. This is too cold for me. Let me go back now home. So now I came back.
To the West Coast.
To the West. Yeah. So I settled and I went to school. I went to this private school. Remember, there's this agent in Surrey, right? Still in the picture.
Yeah.
I did my...
What course were you doing at school?
The healthcare aid. So I finished that. So... Along the way, sasa now you're in the country, now you're learning things, you're researching things, Nini. I found out that if you finish school in Canada, if you're in a public school, you get what is called a post-work grad permit. So what that means is after, say you're in school for 2 years, they give you maybe 3 years of work experience in Canada. Public school.
Public. But you
Stella came where?
Private.
In a private school. This lady didn't think of saying, she didn't even mention that it's a private school and you're not going to get the work experience. After you finish, you go back home.
And she's working, you're paying her?
Sindio. Right? Sasa, thank God. In between, just before I finished school, I remember maybe a month, I'm doing my exams, maybe a month. I read something and I was like, wait. After this, my friend, you pack your bags and go back to wherever the hell you came from.
And all the money
is gone. Now, that time I remember if there's ever been a year that I've cried, baka nadhani saizi machozi iliisha ni hiyo time.
2017.
Yeah, because it's so hard. I'm in a foreign country. My husband is in the Middle East.
Yeah.
The kids are there. So every day, nakumbukaga tu, I always used to call him and I'm in tears. Because the loneliness hits in. You know, all these things.
Then you're realizing when I'm done with this, I can't get work.
So I'm like, do I go back to Qatar? Do I go back? Like, where do I start from? Because I can't really stay here. And then, thank God, Google too. We researched and we Googled nearest another immigration lawyer, and I was like, sasa now this is another one. Now who you? But one thing I was certain was I wanted someone who I can sit with in person. Because I'm with this lady until today. I've never met her.
She's just been taking your money.
I don't even know how she looks like. Nobody ever met her until 5 years down the line. So we met this other guy. So I told them my story and I said, you know what, look, this is what's happening. My papers are about to expire. And he said, quickly, you need to change your, there's what it's called. Why am I forgetting this? Status from change of schools or something, changing from a private school to now a public school. But now the thing was, after school, I wanted to continue and do nursing. Because you've already started there. So it's a career that I really didn't. I felt like it was chosen. It wasn't something that I chose. Kumbuka mimi I'm a Graphics alumni. So
come on,
mimi
packages.
Tourism and travel, France, Paris, Berlin, anyway. So this particular course was something that I felt like was chosen for. You know, just because I wanted to go to school and Canada, anyway.
And the adventure.
But I came to love it, kabisa, to the point where before I even finished, I was like, I want to go higher. I want to nataka kuendelea nimalize. So after that, we saw this guy and I said, you know what, actually, I'd like to continue and I'd like to do nursing now, even if I have to change from these schools. So he said,
wait, your initial course was how long? 1 year or two?
It was a year, but not quite.
Okay, close to a year.
Close to a year. Yeah, it was a year, but not quite.
Close to the end, you changed from that school.
So I met this guy and he said, you need to change, otherwise they're going to send you home. So I changed from it was a Discovery college to now the famous North Island College up
North
the hill.
Island College, NIC.
Yeah, NIC. But then the problem was, when I was changing schools, I wanted to continue, right? But then when I went to NIC, they said they couldn't admit me to continue and doing my nursing because the slots that they had were just enough for Canadian citizens. So if you are not a citizen, there was no way that they would accommodate you for that course.
Maskini
so sasa, this career that I've nimelazimishwa kupenda, now I do really like it. It's gotten to a point where I can't even continue with it. So now I'm like, what do I do? So then this guy said, unfortunately, Stella, you have to pick one of these.
Pick a course.
Pick a course.
Pick a course or pick a ticket and go home.
No, picking a ticket and going home was not
an option.
Where is home?
Is it Qatar? Is it
where is home?
Yo, that's a profound question. Where is home?
Yeah, where is home?
Your kids are in Kenya. Your husband is in Qatar. Where's home?
Right? So he was like, pick a course. Sasa naangalia, me I don't do business, ile tourism and travel that I'm looking for is not even there. Because that's the other thing that I knew best. It's not even there. So anyway, came and then I saw the social service course. And then I'm like, okay, maybe this is close to what I went to school. But not quite, but kidogo close. So I applied for that. And they just accepted me like that. Again, $36,000 later for a 2 years course. It was sita sahau. It was 18,000 1 year, another 18,000. Hey.
Kenya shillings.
Canadian, sorry.
Okay.
36,000 Canadian.
Okay.
Where?
Okay. On that.
Wanzia wapi?
I feel like on that note, let's do the second pause.
Mine is a long one.
It's a long one, but we're getting there.
We're getting there.
In just a bit, we'll be back with Madam Stella to come to Onge how life has been since school. She started working, she's settled, she's doing well.
I think so.
She's doing well. So we'll come back and talk about all that. And then we'll go back to that initial question. Why did you come here? Tumalizie story.
All right.
It's Vybes N Visas.
My love for you is so strong.